Hi, my name is Caroline Poland, and I am the founder and CEO of Poland & Associates Consulting. Today, we're going to carry on with our Trauma-Informed Workplaces and Classrooms series and introduce this next principle of trauma-informed care, which is empowerment. Before we get started, I want to mention that I can't speak to any individual or specific organization, and I have a disclaimer below that you can read more about that. So now that we've looked at what it looks like to have a disempowered workplace or a classroom, let's focus on the positive and what it looks like when we are empowering our employees, when the structure and the health of the workplace or classroom is empowering, and what it looks like to empower students in the classroom. So an individual educator or boss who is trying to empower those under them is again going to take that stance of that curious observer and noticer and not apply a one-size-fits-all formula onto their employees or students, but instead get to know their employees or students, get to know what they need, get to know the culture issues as they see it, and provide the support, the resources, the structure that that individual student or employee needs in order to be successful. Within an empowered workplace, that boss or that educator is going to support healthy communication, and when things aren't healthy, provide the support in navigating that and working towards a healthier place. That boss or that educator is going to provide a supportive and healthy workflow and work processes, and they're going to hear when things aren't working for their employees and bring creativity to the table in creating new solutions and new options. Just because we've done something in the past doesn't mean we have to continue to do that. And an empowered workplace or classroom is bringing in those new and creative solutions and looking at what's underneath the surface and not what I see is all there is. In this sort of system, the educator or the boss is praising not just the output, but the effort that the individual is putting in. Sometimes the output isn't controllable, but the effort and how that employee is navigating the situation or the student is navigating the situation is all that is in that person's area of ownership. And so we are praising that and supporting the effort as it is playing out. That boss or that educator is recognizing the growth of that individual and the creative talents of that individual and how that individual plays an important and critical role to the team, to the work group, to the group performance in a classroom or a group project. Everyone has a specific role. We really want to enhance the gifts and the personality types that are actually playing out in really healthy ways in the workplace, not just taking it for granted, but recognizing it, praising it, and enhancing that so that that individual feels affirmed, seen, and valued as a contributing member to that workplace or that classroom. A boss or an educator who is working to empower individuals within the workplace or classroom is going to be curious and get feedback from those employees that work under them or from those students. What feels clunky? What's working well? What do you need in order to make this situation more fluid or healthier, or for the workflow to happen? Empowered structures of workplaces and organizations help to make that employee's life easier or that student's life easier instead of tripping them up along the way and making their work life more difficult. In my introduction to this series on trauma-informed workplaces and classrooms, I talked about how this process pays off in dividends. And so while this takes time and effort and energy and maybe some financial resources that go into this to really change the structure and make it healthier, it really significantly impacts the organization in the classroom, the educational system, in healthy and good and meaningful ways. So let's look a little bit at how this impacts the system. And again, this is going to be a little bit different depending on that individual group of students or employees and what their needs are. If individual needs are being met, if their expectations of what empowerment looks like in the classroom or in the organization are being met, then success and performance is actually enhanced. There's better outcomes that happen in the workplace or the classroom when individual expectations of empowerment are being met. There's fewer missed days of work. There's healthier communication patterns, more group work where employees or students aren't having to cut one another down to get a leg up and try to advance in an organization, but where the groups can support one another and cheer for one another and take one another's ideas, give credit where credit is due, and work to enhance that for the good of the whole organization and the group or the project that a student is working on. Empowered situations build one another up instead of tear one another down. If you haven't yet done so, click subscribe on this channel so that you don't miss out on future videos as we continue to explore this absolutely critical topic of trauma-informed workplaces and classrooms. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland & Associates and my website polandassociates.com. And if you are interested in having me speak to your business or organization, you can go to my website. There's a form that you can fill out and we can schedule a call and begin working together.